We begin the news by telling you that the federal government of Nigeria has pleaded with the organized labor to reconsider its decision to embark on an indefinite strike from Monday, June 3, 2024, in protest against the government's refusal to raise the proposed minimum wage from 60,000 naira. The interest of the masses should be the top priority of the organized labor, the federal government stressed. While describing the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress as partners in Project Nigeria, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Idris Mohammed, noted that industrial action was not the solution to the ongoing negotiation for a new minimum wage for workers. This came hours after the organized labor declared a nationwide strike, which would begin on Monday, June 3, 2024, over the federal government's refusal to raise the proposed minimum wage. And now in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, the country's organized labor unions say they will commence a nationwide indefinite strike action from Monday, June 3, until a new minimum wage is announced. The leadership of the unions made this known in Abuja, saying that government has refused to accede to their demands, which include the review of the national minimum wage and the reversal in the hike in electricity tariff. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
With inflation now well over 30% as of today, many Nigerians are unanimous in agreeing that the 30,000 naira minimum wage being received by workers is no longer tenable. Despite ongoing negotiations between the federal government and the organized labor, both teams have been unable to meet a compromise. While government has proposed about 60,000 naira against the figure being suggested by labor, this has been outrightly rejected by the labor negotiating team.
As of today, there is no minimum wage for Nigerian workers, technically, by the expiration of the act, by 18th of April. So as at now, we're operating without any law, backing up the minimum wage. They were talking about 100% increase. That's what they have offered. But the 100% increase amounts to one loaf of bread per day for 30 days. That's what it amounts. They are not looking at the quality or the value of what they are offering to us.
Another issue Labour is raising is the hike in electricity tariff. While recently, the union had protested, demanding a reversal, it is also calling on government to do the needful.
On the 13th of May, we had a protest to NEROC and to some of the discos, registering our displeasure. That up till today, there is no word from the government. Our demand was that there should be a reversal from 225 naira per kilowatt down to where it was before, 66 naira per kilowatt.
The president of the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, during a joint news conference with the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress in Abuja, says Labour has concluded plans to commence an indefinite strike.
We are hereby declaring the commencement of a nationwide industrial action, a nationwide strike, effective from Monday, June 3rd, 2024. And this strike shall be indefinite. And this strike shall be on until we have a new national minimum wage.
Until we sign an agreement on what is mutually agreeable by the parties, our action will be on. But our action is not such that we will not equally negotiate. Because the two parties are now going to negotiate under duress. We're under pressure. They will be under pressure.
With many Nigerians still battling with the increasing cost of living, many are optimistic that government will yield to labor's demand and review the nation's minimum wage to a living wage. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomanu.
Nigeria's federal government says that its foreign policy thrusts will continue to focus on Africa and remain Afrocentric in its objectives. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, while speaking to several youths from the Abuja hub of the Global Shapers community at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja says that this has been enshrined in the nation's constitution and thus cannot be changed. He adds that the new 4D policy thrust built on the 4 cardinal pillars of democracy, development, demography and diaspora will guide Nigeria as it engages with the international community. Amadin Uyi reports.
It was a session with several youths from the Abuja hub of the Global Shapers community as part of the Global Shapers Abuja Dialogue series. With the theme of the series, Youth Action Towards Driving Nigeria's 4D Foreign Policy Agenda, the youths expressed the need for Nigeria to walk its talk among African nations.
We understand in the global scheme of things that Nigeria is in a place where without us taking our rightful place, the rest of the black race, Africa, will not be able to become what we want it to be.
They urged the foreign minister to explain the 4D foreign policy to the group, so as to reveal the role young Nigerians can play in achieving its objectives.
We've decided to look at one of the foremost policies of the ministry and one that we feel is very important to us as young people, which is the 4D foreign policy agenda. We really want to, as young people, understand what is our role in this. How can we help the Honorable Minister and Mr. President to succeed in this agenda to revolutionize and reposition Nigeria for global relevance and global leadership?
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, while commending them for the dialogue, says that the 4D policy, summarized into the 4 pillars of democracy, development, demography, and diaspora, are aimed at helping Nigeria achieve its foreign objectives. While he insists that Nigeria will continue to push for the progress of the African continent, he says that this has been mandated from the nation's constitution.
The foreign policy objectives of Nigeria are enshrined in the constitution. They're there for all to see. So focusing on Africa, first and foremost, you can't change that, whether you like it or not, because some say, well, why don't we just forget this Afrocentric approach? But it's in the constitution. You would need to amend it to be able to do so.
He also adds that it will serve as a platform for engagement with the international community.
The whole idea of these 4Ds is to also use it as a basis for engaging. So we have something in common with China, we have something in common with India, we have something in common with Brazil, with the United States. These are all large countries, with Indonesia, countries with a population of over 200 million.
The minister maintained that Nigeria remains non-aligned to any nation in the international community and is open to work with all countries in its quest for development. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
And to security matters now, the Abia State government has promised to bring to justice those responsible for the killing of 5 army officers in Aba on Thursday. The state government, in a press statement issued by the Information Commissioner, Oke Kano, condemned the dastardly act and announced a 25 million naira bounty for information leading to the arrest of the perpetrators. An expanded Security Council meeting, including the newly inaugurated Advisory Council, the Commissioner of Police, Kenechukwu Onwemile, and their Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, General Edward Buba, addressed the incident. The CP assured that the law would take its full course on those involved in the attack at Obikabia Junction in Aba, while Uba expressed deep sorrow over the killings.
The point is that it's a very unfortunate incident and it's highly condemnable, and indeed it's cowardly. But it happened yesterday, and all I can tell you is that the security agencies, the government of Abia State, and all well-meaning Nigerians feel very bad about what has happened. And everything that needs to be done will be done to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
As citizens, I advise we remain abiding, remain calm. Anyone who sees something should say something. Security is everybody's business. I use this opportunity to say that anybody who has credible information as to lead us to apprehending the perpetrators of this act, we call forth to come forward. Feel free to come forward.
We tell you that Nigeria's Defense Headquarters has warned against the continuous assault and attack on military personnel around the country. This was as the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, spoke to newsmen in Abuja, saying recent cases of assault of soldiers and attacks on personnel are counterproductive and demoralize personnel, putting their lives at risk on behalf of the nation. He warned troublemakers to change their ways, as the military will not condole with the continuous abuse of its personnel.
These actions against troops by unscrupulous elements are counterproductive and amount to self-sabotage. Indeed, these troops, or soldiers as you wish to call them, these are real people. Amongst us, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have technicians, we have accountants. We have all sorts of professionals amongst us. We are drawn from all parts of this country. We're not foreigners that invaded Nigeria. The military are all Nigerians.
Away from that, suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari has been released from the Kuje Custodial Center in the Federal Capital Territory after spending 27 months in detention. Kyari was detained following his arrest on February 14, 2022 by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for alleged involvement with an international drug cartel. On May 22, 2024, Judge Emeka Mbite granted Kyari bail to allow him conclude the burial rites of his mother, who died on May 5. The court scheduled May 31, 2024 for the hearing on Kyari's main application for bail about the drug trafficking charges. Giving updates, the spokesperson of the Nigerian Correctional Service of the Federal Capital Territory Command, Adamu Duza, confirmed to newsmen that Kyari met his bail conditions and will be released on Friday. Of course, it was released on Friday. Many thanks for being there. The Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has announced its decision to disconnect 24 federal government establishments, including the Federal Ministry of Finance, as well as Kogi and Niger states, over unpaid electricity bills. The company claimed that various ministries, departments, and agencies collectively owe to over 100 billion naira. It emphasized the importance of timely bill payments for maintaining and improving its infrastructure, which is essential for delivering reliable electricity services to the community. The Electricity Distribution Company also reiterated its call for all customers with outstanding debts to settle their bills before the deadline on Monday to avoid disconnection. Away from that now, International Museum Day is an annual day or event that aims to raise public awareness of museums as invaluable repositories of artistic, cultural, historical, traditional, and fascinating artifacts. Museums offer a wealth of knowledge and insight. They play a vital role in educating people about their nation's art, architecture, culture, history, and civilization. News Central's Bettin Nainwili tells us more.
The International Museum Day focuses on a different theme each year, reflecting relevant topics or challenges encountered by museums globally. The theme for this year, Museums for Education and Research, emphasizes the crucial role of cultural institutions in delivering a comprehensive educational experience.
The theme also helps to showcase our cultural heritage to the public, to the world. And this year's theme as well, brings everybody together, for them to come and be aware of what we have, in the National Museum. As, we celebrated, we had the children perform, you know, in their local dialect. They spoke in their local dialect. They did performances. We had different cultural performances in different ethnic tribes. So that is part of the research and the education we're talking about. We create that awareness.
Many artifacts housed in museums are open to the public, providing valuable insights into the lifestyles, tools, and creations of ancient civilizations. Here at the National Museum, Onikon, Lagos, Nigeria, so many treasures abound. History is on full display. But how easy or difficult is it to run and maintain a museum?
You know, this is our culture. Museum is our heritage. There's nowhere in the world that you go to, you don't go and visit the museum. So financially, we need assistance. Well, they need assistance. I'm talking as if I'm still here. Anyway, they need assistance, a whole lot of it. So the individuals, government can't do it alone. It's impossible. They can't do it alone. So we need interventions from private organizations and anyone who is interested.
As we learned today, International Museum Day was established by ICOM in 1977 for museums all around the world to celebrate themselves, really, and to portray themselves to the public, open their doors to the public and say, hey, we are here. Come and celebrate with us. Come and be part of our community. I would say, in closing, if you haven't been to the National Museum Onikon in a while, do come. They have some very lovely objects and the staff are great.
The establishment of International Museum Day by the International Council of Museums aims to unite museums globally and emphasize their significant role in raising awareness, fostering understanding, and promoting the appreciation of diverse cultures. To commemorate this occasion, you can visit museums in your area and actively engage in events organized by these institutions. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Earlier on the news, we told you that the Abia State government has promised to bring to book those who are actually responsible for the killing of 5 military personnel in Aba, placing a 25 million naira bounty on information that would lead to the arrest of these perpetrators. And to help us understand this better, I'm being joined by Poli C. Ezumoha, who is a politician. Thank you so much, Mr. Ezumoha, for joining us on the news.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Of course, it's nice to have you around. So what do you make of this latest killing of soldiers in Abia State? Of course, we're still trying to move away from what happened in Delta State, where about 17 soldiers were killed in a community in Okoma. Now we have another case in our hands, and this trend seems to be building up. What does it mean?
First of all, let me convey my condolences to the families of the slain soldiers, as well as the military formation. And I will request that the God Almighty reposes their soul. Actually, no death is can be justified by any means whatever. The death of these military young men, I can say their deaths were unwarranted. There's nothing that can justify them. So I really, extend my condolences to the families of the deceased. Well, the fact remains that so many killings in the land, in the country, a lot of things are not really, making up. And I believe that it's time for government to think beyond the immediate environment, to find out the immediate causes of all these killings. And also, listen to ways of proactively stopping those killings from continuing. I'm not really happy each time I hear that soldiers were killed in Delta State, soldiers were killed in Abia State, or killing of anybody at all, either through herdsmen or through kidnapping or whichever way that it came. I have never been very happy, hearing such a news. But again, we have to actually look at the remote causes of like I said, no death is justifiable. No killing of innocent men and women should be justified by any means whatsoever. But people, the government, look inwards to know exactly what to do, what are the causes, what should be done proactively to prevent these unnecessary killings.
Okay, so I'd like to find out now, according to reports, these troops were actually deployed to the area to maintain peace and order. But then one would think that that would be the prerogative of the police within a community. So, well, what happened in Okoma was almost, let's say, it's similar to this. When it comes to ensuring peace and tranquility within a community or a particular area, shouldn't that be the job of the police department? Why deploy soldiers to areas like that? Or maybe there's more to this that we need to understand.
I wouldn't know what actually happened, whether there were deployment or whether there was deployment of soldiers purposely in that area or to that area for the purpose of keeping peace. But what we see around is, in the East, particularly, is that you have a whole number of checkpoints manned by both the police and the military. Every 2 kilometers, every 1 kilometer, you get such military checkpoints or police checkpoints. And it could be the case that perhaps it's an existing checkpoint. I wouldn't know the particular location where this happened. It could be one of the checkpoints where we notice where we see these men in uniform, trying to conduct their activities or do their jobs. But again, like I said, that would, whether they were sent there for peacekeeping or they were sent there for their normal routines. Whether it's the job of the police to do that, or whether any other security agency can be sent in such duties, I don't think that is normal. It's it's justifiable for such people to be hacked to death. But like as I was saying, there are causes. There are cause effects of most of these activities, and most of these activities and killings, the consequent killings, and people should be able to hold the government, responsible for them. For myself, I will be holding the government responsible for whatever reason that has happened. Because if the government had done what is expected of them, I don't think that we should be talking about these killings, whether it is in Delta or whether it's in Imo, Abia, or Plateau, or wherever it is. The government should bear the responsibility. That is my take on that.
Poli Ezumoha, a Nigerian politician, thank you so much for your contribution.
It's my pleasure.
Let's now head to Delta State, where displaced residents of Okoma community in Delta State are calling for improved living conditions at the Ewu Grammar School IDP camp. The community was raised by the military in March following the killing of 17 soldiers. Many residents initially resisted relocating to the camp, but eventually agreed after a meeting with the state governor. However, after 4 days at the camp, concerns remain about their well-being. News Central's Austin Azu, who visited them in their IDP camp, completes the reports.
It has been few days since the arrival of these Okwama returnees after the bloodbath that displaced them from their ancestral home back to the IDP camp in Ewu Grammar School in Ewu Kingdom, traditional headquarters of the Ewu people. How have they fared since their arrival to the camp?
that they suffer for the camp, that they belly full. One, no medicine, no food. Once a day, now they shop for food for the camp. So now that they beg, make the government to help.
See the rice where we they eat. It no reach us to eat. No fish, no meat, nothing.
Since on Monday, now we dey here. So first of all, the first time we eat once. The following day, now still once. Yesterday we managed to eat 2 times. Because the population, they are plenty. Not be say the government not they try, but maybe they still try more. We still need more help.
Despite the challenges, the Rural Progress Union Worldwide Youth Wing has provided food items to support the displaced persons. The union's president urged the residents to comply with the camp rules, assuring them that the state government has their best interest at heart.
It is necessary we cater or we support the Okwama people, the mothers, the young ones, the old ones, and all of them with a little of our support for them, which as the time goes, we shall also come back.
First, I want to thank Urobo youth all over the world. What we did is that we posted it, that our mothers are displaced. They will need food in these trying times. What do we do? If you have 1,000, 2,000, send in. And the contribution, think about 17 persons donated and supported the program. With the help of the president of the UPU, we were able to gather this money and we purchased.
The camp chairman revealed that over 1,000 displaced persons have registered, with about 300 currently residing in the camp. He emphasized the importance of daily meals and called for additional support for well-meaning individuals.
There were preparations ahead before they started coming. We had a stock of rice, gari, basic food items. And so when they came, it was not like they came into nothing. There was food, and then things took off. But as with every process, the beginning will always be rough.
Okwama residents initially rejected the IDP camp, but later agreed to relocate following New Central Town Hall meeting and discussions with the state government. In Delta, for News Central, Austin Azu.
Located along Alpha Beach Road in Lekki Phase 2, Atlantic View Estate stands as a testament to organized community living, populated by responsible and reputable residents. The estate should epitomize comfort and convenience. However, beneath this facade lies a tale of struggle and frustration, primarily stemming from the deplorable state of electricity supply in the Alpha Beach area. News Central's Bettina Nreli reports.
For over 2 years, residents of Atlantic View Estate in Lekki, Lagos have been living in near darkness despite being classified under Band B, which supposedly guarantees at least 16 hours of daily electricity. The residents endure a meager 3 hours of power a week, making daily life a struggle.
2 ridiculous years. We've done everything legally right. You know, we buy our own transformers. You know, we're all on generators. We get maybe an average of 3 hours light in a whole week for the last 2 years. That's ridiculous. And we're supposedly on Band B, which means that we're entitled to at least 16 hours light a day.
The Eco Electricity Distribution Company blames a faulty feeder supplying the area. However, residents point out the inconsistency as neighboring estates serviced by the same feeder have significantly better electricity access. This disparity has fueled frustration and led residents to organize peaceful protests to demand their rights.
This morning we had a very fruitful discussion, and we said that we feel your pain, we understand your grievances, and we promise that we are going to look at it to come up with a very short-term solution, at least that will provide some kind of succor to them before the lasting solution will be completed. So what we agree is that they should give us 1 week to look at general overview of what are the problems and then what are the immediate solutions that we can prefer.
I also learned that some areas pay to have lights. We will not bribe EKDC to have lights. We will not do it. Also, it got to my notice now that some areas paid millions. That's why they have the benefit of having steady, constant light. But we will not pay EKDC. We're doing what we're doing. It's our right as citizens to have light.
The situation at Atlantic View Estate exposes the deep flaws in the electricity distribution system. Unfulfilled promises and constant excuses plague the system, leaving residents without a basic necessity. Access to electricity is not a privilege, but a fundamental right. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
The news continues in West Africa, where a prominent Burkina Faso lawyer and civil society leader has been jailed on charges of participating in a plot against the country's military rulers days after he was freed from prison. Guy Havikamp appeared at a military court accused of hatching a plot to try and overthrow the West African country's junta. The judges said Kamp plotted with others to target the lives of officials. After Kamp was detained in January, a court ordered his release the following month, a decision confirmed on appeal on April 23. And now to the southern part of Africa. South Africa's ruling ANC face a search for allies to help it form a new government after it lost its 3-decade-old absolute majority in a watershed election. With 99% of the votes from Wednesday's election counted, President Cyril Ramaphosa's African National Congress had only 40%, a catastrophic slump from the 57.5% it won in 2019. This marks an historic turning point for South Africa, as the party has enjoyed an absolute majority since 1994, when liberation leader Nelson Mandela led the nation out of white minority rule and into democracy. The ANC must now either negotiate a coalition government or at least persuade other parties to back Ramaphosa's re-election in parliament to allow him to form a minority government reliant on other parties for support to pass budgets and legislation. Meanwhile, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema, says the just concluded elections did not favor political parties who attacked black foreign nationals as a result of self-hate by black South Africans. Malema was addressing the media at the IEC Results Center in Midrand this afternoon. He has called on people to protect one another as Africans and be united. Malema also mocked political parties like Operation Dudula that used the anti-foreigner stance that they never gained any votes for it.
About the Cyril Ramaphosa ANC. We won't engage with the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa. We can have a discussion with the ANC. But the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa? How is that possible? The fact of the matter is we could be in a position very soon where we will make the determination who becomes president, and whoever becomes president will be told that you're going to give President Zuma presidential pardon, and when he gives the presidential pardon, we'll bring President Zuma back in his National Assembly, put him back as president. Simple as that, before we even change the constitution.
The ANC is quite elated with the latest figures, where we are now at 4 million, and our immediate contender is at 2 million. We appreciate the support that we received from the voters. As you know, we all do not know the total number of the voter turnout. We only know that
the ANC has accepted the result, and as the ANC, what is foremost now in our mind are two things. One is the fact that there was a clear protest from our people. Our people are saying we love the ANC, but the ANC must self-correct. We have already started that program of organizational renewal. I think we need to fast-track that. We must no longer only speak about acting against corruption. We must be seen as doing that. We must be seen as giving our people the service. That is the message that our people have said to us, and it's a message we have received loud and clear.
Well, for more on this, I'm being joined by News Central's correspondent, Bongani Siziba, who has been monitoring the election for us. Bongani, good afternoon to you. Yes, we see that, of course, the ANC seems to be on the brink of losing its parliamentary majority for the first time in a very long time, having garnered just about 40% at the polls. What are your takes? And, of course, bring us up to speed about what the latest results are.
And also good afternoon to our viewers. First time in the democracy of South Africa, where we are going to see coalitions with political parties, some of them starting some friendships around. You can see them going around speaking to different political parties. This shows that it's coalitions that they are trying to see who they can work with. And with Julius Malema admitting that if ANC he's ready to work with ANC. But I have General Edward Buba, who is here with me, just to think and also thinks about the coalitions in South Africa. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
How is Good Party doing?
Well, we have very disappointing results on the board right now. We seem to have lost about half of the support that we had in 2019. And we are currently just hoping that we will get one seat back in the National Assembly and one in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. So we've had some setbacks.
Coalitions on the cards. Your thoughts on this?
Well, it's obvious that we need a coalition government, certainly at the national level and at one or two provinces, it looks like. And my hope is that the coalition discussions that are taking place will be taking place around a governing agreement that includes a governing plan that will change the lives of South Africans, stop the struggle for the majority of South Africans, address poverty and address high unemployment. So I'm hoping that the discussions that are taking place are focused on a plan for South Africa rather than horse trading around positions.
But we have heard DA saying they can't work with MK, they can't work with EFF. But is this in the interest of South Africans?
Well, I don't think it's sensible for any party to say they won't work with any particular party, because at the end of the day, the voters have given us a outcome where there isn't a party that has an outright majority, and so coalitions need to be formed. I mean, the DA have been campaigning for months, years, on the basis that they would never work with the ANC. In fact, that's one of the criticisms that they've leveled against us, is that our party leader serves in the national cabinet, even though we're not in coalition with the ANC. They've campaigned heavily on that. Now, if they're talking about going into coalition with the ANC themselves, then some hypocrisy in their messaging. Of course, they also formed a multi-party charter or a moonshot pact with other parties, in which all of those parties committed to not working with the ANC and working very hard to get ANC out of government. So now we have the ANC out of government, but the multi-party charter or the moonshot pact has not achieved a majority itself. So I think it's irresponsible to say we're not going to talk to particular parties. In the interest of South Africa, sometimes we have to put pride in the pocket.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was the Secretary General of Good Party taking us through about his thoughts about the coalitions that are on cards here, with our political parties forming relationships already. But at the moment, ANC is way behind the two-thirds majority, still at 40.2%, with Democratic Alliance at 21.79%, MK 14.61%, and EFF at 9.48%. And this is in the history of South Africa, the first time where we are going to see the government that is going to be a government of unity between different parties. But the question is, will this work? Because already political parties have shown that they can't work together. And will this be a political gain, or will it be a gain for South Africans? Back to you in the studio, Lincoln.
Thank you so much, Bongani Siziba, for bringing us this in-depth analysis as regards the election in South Africa. We appreciate that. Talking sports now, in a dazzling debut at the U.S. Darts Masters in New York, Luke Littler swiftly dispatched Matt Campbell 6-0 in under 10 minutes. The 17-year-old sensation dominated with a remarkable 103.66 average, marking his first match in the United States with an impressive victory at Madison Square Garden. Fresh from his Premier League triumph in London on May 23, Littler emerged as the main attraction. He gears up to face Jeff Smith on Saturday, following Smith's 6-1 victory over Michael Smith. Meanwhile, reigning world champion Luke Humphries secured a spot in the quarterfinals by defeating Canadian veteran David Cameron 6-0. Michael Van Garen, seeking his third U.S. Darts Masters title, triumphed over Danny Lauby by 6-1 after a shaky start. The tournament's action-packed conclusion, featuring quarterfinals and semi-finals, unfold on Saturday evening. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, we take a look at some of our major stories. Nigerian government pleads for time as labor strike begins on Monday. Burkina Faso jails prominent lawyer Harry Kam. South African political parties jostle to set terms of coalition talks. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. You can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. And you can also watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Arvo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.